Hello and welcome. It is the completion of the 27th day of December 2019. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel, where like always, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. I'm going to talk a lot about ratio trading, then I'm going to move it into fantasy sports, but more importantly, bankroll management. Risk reward for myself is always job number one. Under 3-4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's how I remember counting en français. Je ne parle pas français. At least now I don't really speak much of it. Within Bitcoin, it's just an interesting setup. Because is there anything that told us that something like this could have happened before the fact? And I didn't mean to draw a line like that. I meant to scroll it back like that. Yeah. From the move lower, look at how we resist this nicely with the 18 of highs. Then these two periods at the 15, 16-hour stamp and 17, a very productive one, and another productive one at 18, and then it does that. Oh, surprise, surprise. I want to go over some comments first, though. And the first one, Vignesh GJ, most likely pronounced it incorrect, but the comment stating, I feel Theta is going to break all-time highs of 5,000 Satoshis. What are the next high target if it breaks? And a lot of it is just understanding when key levels of support or resistance get broken, it's going to be a decent move, probably not too small or too large. So 7,000, 75, 8,000 would probably be too small. Although large moves can happen, it's just rare. I'd have to think in the over 10,000, 12, 13, 14,000 would be the area amongst a clear breakout of 5,000. And usually if it breaks 5,000, it's going to do it so in a clear level. However, when I did Theta a few days ago, this is 4 days ago for all these comments, off full analysis, immediate support is 1280 on Theta, not 1100. If it goes back to 1100, it's back into accumulation and won't be gearing up for another push anytime soon. And I believe it's amazing analysis, especially because I wasn't even talking about short-term stuff and 1100 being the log-term level. And we're going to be taking a look at Theta, as that's a very interesting chart as it's now moving in towards that point. And I actually did a video on this I wanted to redo it. So all the lines are going to be in there. It's going to be shorter. And then the next one, the smiley face indicator works every time from Tim. And you know what? That's cool analysis when you can see such a deal, because it just shows a decent but not instant trend down and not an instant trend up either. Anyway, back to the charts. Let's take a look at Theta. And I actually would have removed my Fibonacci on it, so I'm just going to recalculate it. We have this low here at 928. I'm going to bring my Fibonacci calculator up. It's high divided by low. But for now, I'm just going to put this one in, and then the high price comes in at 1564. So therefore, the key numbers were 1133 and 1281. So 1133 looks exactly like where it's going. And if I put lines in at those spots, so 1133 is 1130 rather around here, is an area I'd be expecting it to go to. But before that, we had 1281. Okay. So obviously no support here as on this day. What did it do? Well, in the next session, it closed at the lows. The next session, we had a little bit of a higher move above it, but it obviously certainly went down and resisting it for the next 2 days, and we've been following from that point. We've already only barely now broken down below this key level of support. It does look as if this big area that I consider the must hold to be a must hold. And of course, what I mean by must hold, if it doesn't do it, well, then at that stage, you're seeing a failed breakout, and oftentimes fast moves in the opposite direction. That's why I call it a must hold. Now, when you have a situation of a big gain like this and it's fallen through, if I go to the triple day term time frame, I can see how this average in here has been predominantly within this trend, and as it was resisting this in here, it hasn't yet, since the decline of that 5,000 level, been able to come through. But we have a small attempt here, small attempt there, small attempt here. And this has by far been the best attempt, enough where it's made this 18 average start to barely rise. We can see in here that this level where we came from, or the 1100 area, which would pierce below here, coincides with the 18 lows, and that's why I like to get a time frame, like the triple day in this case, that would do such a deal. But whether these rallies are real or not, I mean, I like failed rallies if rather than just going sideways like this, because I'm going to be transitioning, of course, this video into ratio trading. But before we do that, let's take a look next at Theta. Oh, actually, no. Theta, we are looking at Theta. Let's look at Tezos. But before we look at Tezos, I want to talk about the shorter term time frame. We can see amongst this 1278 Fibonacci level, it did find support here at noon at December the 22nd, and then we continue to have a little bit more, and there's a rally, but we can see resisting this more than supporting it, and it's just been breaking down ever since. If we have any rallies coming up towards here, I would, maybe it comes through, but it's pretty much seems like a certainty to me that we're going to pierce below 1133. That's how good my memory is. I knew it wasn't 27. I knew that was a Pierce extra. That's why I'm thinking, I put a line there. I'm like, yeah, that works, because it usually goes a little bit more. Let's move on to Tezos. And I did the lines that I remember putting in. These are the ones I put in for Tezos, which represents Fibonacci from this low to this high. So here's the situation again. Although there's not enough data to have it, but if you had it, like a weekly chart, because of all of this empty space, we're seeing that it's failing below here. This is the 23.7 or 6% down move, which is in around that of 1979. And it supported it here, and it's breaking down from it now. So 1687 looks like that's where we're going to. It's coming from in here. If this level fails, and usually you're going to find quick support at it. If it doesn't, fast move to 1293 area, not a surprise. 1300, whatever. But we do see that we had all of these higher lows, and now all of a sudden we don't. But there's been a good rally. And the rally here started like right around Halloween. And it stopped right around December the 13th or the 17th. And I probably would be better off, I think, to use a different chart, because this is Bitcoin Cash on Binance. They got rid of the ABC. So let's put a new chart up. And there we have it. So Huobi, the exchange, it's all the same price. After all, the art of arbitrage would ensure that. Anyway, October 31st, the price of this was up to this level here. So while all these markets were going down to like, what, December 13th area, this was also going down. So down to here. Which meant that that's a good thing for me. When my other coins go up and these ones go down at the same time, that gives better volatility. And then you have this nice little failed breakdown, most certainly, because, well, maybe it might resist it. And I say that because this was a major key level of support that it broke down from on December 17th, September 17th and 18th. And if it doesn't resist this, or, yeah, if it doesn't resist it, and we support it, or we just go further higher, that's just huge. It's already gotten decently above the 18 average of highs already. That's phenomenal in itself. And in a market like this, whenever you have a move that gets above it, holding where you come from, holding 18 lows, that type of stuff is always important. This is no different here. But we do see the possibility of that failed breakdown. But as it goes, those last two coins I mentioned, well, Tezos and Theta, I trade that with each other. And Bitcoin Cash, I trade both Tezos and Theta with such. So let's show you those charts. And the first one will be Bitcoin Cash and Theta. And this thumbs up indicator meant that's where I made a trade. And there's only so much data here because of the readjustment on the Binance side. But it meant before the November 28th date, I had a trade in around this price. Then it went down, so I traded more. Then it went down, I traded more. Luckily, I got this bottom. And I've been able to get a huge gain from this previous high, higher volatility, but I'm pretty much looking for bigger moves than before as it is. And this one here, when you look at a trade here going from like 1680 up to 2430, that's like almost a 40% move. And that's just phenomenal to be able to have, as this went down primarily because Theta was going up, and now at least here, both Theta going down and now Bitcoin Cash going up ensures that this happens. So I don't care what happens next. If it goes up here some more, well, I've already got a trade back from here to here. If I get my trade back on this way up there, well, that's just awesome. And if this goes back down, well, sweet. I'll just sell more Theta. I bought some, so that works out good. As far as the Tezos side, single hour term time frame again with Bitcoin Cash. Tezos went up, so I sold Tezos, bought Bitcoin Cash, sold Tezos here, bought some BCH, and there's the buyback. So, okay, same thing. If it goes up again, I'll get this buyback here. If it goes down more, I'll just sell. I have more Tezos because of it. It's awesome. And now Litecoin and Theta, and I traded in here. I'm just have to manually put them in, and I got bored of doing it. I did in here, and this was a spot where I trade on the way up. This is the single hour term time frame, so the end of July. And then down at this low in here, I would have, so it should be maybe over here a bit. And then when it came back up here on August 8th, so 3 trades just like that worked out very, very well. Missed out on this trade on August the 5th. Then a lot of time went by. And after missing out on that, I missed out on any buybacks down in here. But I did get this one. And then the market moved some more. I got another one. And the market moved some more, and I got another one. Missed out on these sales up top. But I got it back here. And then we moved some more. We got another trade up here. And now we're September 18th, and all this volatility I'm not taking advantage of. So a lot of choppy action going sideways. Then we finally have this fallen. Trade once, trade twice. Oh, the buyback in here we can see going from the area of 535 up to 618. And then it just starts going up again. And here we have another trade in November. And it goes back down, trade some more. And then a bunch of nothing. There's a trade here on December the 8th. Then again, and again on the way up. So again, another good situation where I've been able to get decently above this number. Which means that if this continues to go higher, I can make another good aggressive play because I can now get a good buyback on this particular one after I've already got a very good one on this one. And if this goes back down, well, just same thing. I've accumulated that of Theta from my last trade. And then that Theta, a portion of that Theta, if the price comes down in this area below here again, well, that would be used to turn into Litecoin. Just doing the ratio trades. And it's really an easy job. It's really just making sure that you are organized within how you're doing it, you're understanding the situation, and just making proper executions, which technically is just not making a mistake, which is pretty easy to do. Easy not to do, or pretty easy not to make a mistake, if you understand what I'm trying to say there. Anyway, let's move on to fantasy sports, but again, more importantly, bankroll management. As it seems that I've basically might have a good new career, it looks like, based just doing this in here. Working on profits near 25, we'll say 2,300 and change. I've got about 125 at risk for today. So if I lose everything, or near everything, which can happen, then it comes down here. But it doesn't happen too often. Usually I win. And when the odd times you get a big win, and that's what this occurred in. I had a nice little consistent win here. Got some unluckiness where the market, the price, my value went sideways and down. Then a little bit of a good gain, neutralizing it in here. Some unlucky streaks, and I really had a big unlucky streak going on, and yet I'm not losing. This is the first time in my life where I have gambled, and I have gambled a lot. And I've endured a unlucky streak, and I pretty much endure a unlucky streak in every game that I play at different intervals. And during that time frame, I not only do I not lose, but I actually can profit. I know you can't see the early stuff too well, but back in here I was thinking, how am I up like $3 or something as it was? With the unluckiness that I had. That was just like whatever. And then I had, this was even a little unlucky, this barely gained. But then, for about 8 days, I had, every day was lucky. And in days where I had a bad game, there was 2 days that game, and the other game got me more profit than what I lost. So every day for 8 days, I was profiting amazingly. And then, in here, all of this barely grinding higher. It was spectacular gains. Well, no, barely any gains. But spectacular bad luck, actually. I should have had a lot of big gains along the way. And then this happened, where I avoided bad luck. And I get myself in position to have it, because there's going to be spots like this game in here that that dropped this little bit in here. That was a game that was bad, and that's why I stayed. I could have a bad game and lose my entire $1.25 that I put into this. The maximum stakes, I could have played 350 today. And, well, a lot of it is, of course, I'm going to be using this. This is actually good, comes at a good time for me, as I don't like to use cryptos when I think they're in accumulation mode, or it's better to buy than sell, which is, I believe that's the case. So using cryptos for different projects and such, it's not fun to do in a bear market. But to be able to do such, we'll say call for home improvements, home renovations, and to be able to come up with funds for it, which a lot of this is going to do come the new year, which is next week. So therefore, I could be like, well, if I wasn't going to do that, I could easily be betting $300-400. And essentially, if I manage it, I could easily do that. And my belief, based on a daily way of playing a hockey game, even a baseball game, because it'd be played the same way, is you probably could afford to bet 20% of your bankroll. Of course, I believe in betting and bankroll management. How much you play depends on your status of your bankroll. If you're trying to build a bankroll and it's not that large of one, then maybe you bet a larger sum of it. So maybe you bet maybe a third of your bankroll one night on something in a situation like that. And then if it gets really high, like it starts to get something like this, then you end up doing like 15%, stuff like that. Now what I've done in here is I've figured out, this is my ROI right now. This is sick. 72.33%. As the action is going on. It's 9:21 p.m. as I'm doing this, and I got action going on right now. I'm going to sit down and watch the game, and I've purchased access to every hockey game because it's almost like it's a business venture now. Plus, I might as well enjoy watching the games that I'm playing action on. But my theory at the start of this was that it was profitable. Then my theory became, I think 20 to 30% ORI is possible. Now I don't know what long term it is, but I have to think it's over 40 or 50. But as I look at it, if I place, if I can get like 30% return on 400 stakes, that's 120 per day. And be able to play about 350 days a year, knowing there's going to be higher stakes available come baseball season. I do believe a 6-figure income could be very possible. But something I do like this is treat it like a business and understand your risk reward and how, like, for example, if one of my strategies that I used in poker in many of these games is if you get a good bankroll win, which of course when you have a chart like this you would, then you can take an aggressive stance. Say this is your poker bankroll and you're like, oh, you want to whatever game here. Allocate yourself to play. Maybe there's a big $200, $300 game. If it wins, then keep going with the flow until your uptrend stops. And if anything, you can go get aggressive gains that way, because that's one thing I believe. If you can aggressively ride profit smart, that you can do very well during your hot streaks. But the way of looking at it on a protection level is, say I end up going down to here. Well, now I'm just going to not play the big games until I got some profits, and then I'll keep playing the big games until it doesn't work. Stuff like those are different measures. And in poker, why I like that as well too is because then you can get yourself experience on a new level of play. But Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.